Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be installing the Aeroforce dual gauge pod and the Aeroforce dual gauge set into my CTS coupe. In previous videos, I showed you the unboxing of both of those products, and today we're going to be installing them. If you want to see the unboxing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and check out those videos. But for today we're going to actually be putting them into the car. All right, so there's two things we're going to need to do. We're going to need to remove this defrost vent cover right here, and we also need to remove this cover over here. Both of them are just popped in, so we just need to pop them off. There's one. Don't let that happen to you. And then the other one is just popping this out here, being careful, because you may, in case you want to reuse it in the future, you don't want to break it. So, and there we are pulling that out here. And so this is the old one here, so it allows for the heat to come out. The great thing about the Aeroforce gauge right here is that it still allows for you to have your vent, so the heat will still come out. It just creates a zone down up in there for you to be able to run your wires through too as well. All right, so if you were wondering what it does it look down in there, I'm not sure if you can tell or not, but you see there's actually a gap between where the the heat would actually come out, or AC if it's in summertime for you. But there's a gap between the actual dash and where that tube is at, so that's where you can run your wires. As you can see, the factory one is kind of long, so it actually takes up that gap to connect over there, but it'll allow us to be able to run our wires between that gap. All right, so what we're going to do first is so this is our OBD2 cable right here with the two connections that go into the back of the gauges. So what we want to do first is fish those up through here so that they come out up here. Hey, and before we actually slide that through there, I pulled the car outside so you guys can have some better light. But I want to say, I actually got my videos out there if you want to see of me installing the Recaro seats into my CTS, installing the CTS-V steering wheel into my CTS, the handle, switching out the center console to all black from the silver. Also put in the CTS-V dash gauge up there, and a few other things as well. So catch those videos, but let's get back to this. So we're going to go ahead and route the cable through here. All right, first I'm going to take it and I'm going to route it up underneath. And just to help you guys get a view, let me bring you up here for a moment. All right, so what I'm going to do is, there is a spot right there. I'm just going to route them in through there. I want you to be able to see how I get this drain thing here, this drain cleaner, and I got it because it's yellow, so it can easily be seen. So you guys can see that you stick it in through there, through that little gap, that it will just come out. You see how it come out right down there? All right. So that's how I'm going to run the wire. All right, just like I said, I just took it and just ran it through where you guys saw, and it just came out. Took me all of maybe 30 seconds to do that, and here they are on this end. All right, so now I'm going to take my gauge, my dual gauge pod, and even if you have the single gauge pod, same thing, and then just run the wires up through here into the actual section. And what's nice, they actually supply you some putty to put in there. So once you have your cables all ran through there, you can put the putty in there to make sure that when the heat is coming out, or the AC, it's not going into the section where the gauges are at. So that part's pretty cool. right. There are two, but I have both of them coming out through the same hole, so I'm going to take one and now fish it over into the other hole so it comes out for the other gauge. There we go. All right, so at this point, I feel comfortable taking this and setting it down in there. Like so. All right, so there is a flaw with this system, and I wanted to point that out. So you see how your cables are running through here, right? So this end, in theory, is supposed to go into the tube inside of there so that your heat can still come out through there to defrost your windows, right? But your cables are actually, when they go in there, it's diverting off from that tube to come out over here to route down. Unless your cables actually route through the tube that's down in there, basically the exhaust, the HVAC system, the tube that's delivering the heat, it'd be impossible to slide this in, right? Because this is sticking out to the side, so you can't pretend like my fingers is the receiving tube and it's all four sides are solid. You can't slide over that. You can't. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need basically a opening in the side of that tube in order to do that. And I'm looking down in there. I'm not sure if you can see that. So there's the tube right there. If you can see that, I would need to probably get a Dremel or something and trim out a bit of that on the side to make that actually able to slide in. All right. So I wanted to call that out. Right now, I'm probably just going to go ahead and slide it in, and when the springtime come around, I think I'll get my Dremel and I'll trim that out and to be able to slide this in properly. So I just wanted to make sure to call that out to you guys. All right, so what's the name letting me really line it up in there? So what I did, I took my knife here and I went in there and I reached in and I cut the corner of it. It's just a thin plastic tube. And so that slit allows for my cable to be able to work up in there. Because this right here wasn't going to set up in there properly the way it was set up. So now I'm able to set this up in there like that. See that? Much better. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull back most of this wire here. Then take my ODB port here and plug it on in. I kind of wish they would have had a pass-through one so that you'll still have it open for other accessories if you want to, but it's not the case. But I'll plug that in, and then I'll take my cables and I'll run them all the way out. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to hide most of these cables back here. So now that I got them all ran, so I will wrap this up and I'm going to take my zip ties and I'm just going to hide these back here and put the cover back on. All right, in preparation to receive in the gauges, took some 3M tape that I have. Took some 3M tape and cut off some sections and lined the inside to help make sure the gauges stay in there. So now I'm just going to see the top one with, 8 pins up in there. I will take one and plug it in, and I will do it for the other as well and slide them into the pod. see I'm gonna need to twist them a little bit to get them level a little bit, because they're slightly on the angle that way, but that's nothing. All right, so to use this, you see how you have like a little asterisk next to some of those, and you have the long list? Well, you have the two. One is to be able to scroll down to the different ones, right? And then if it's some you want in your selection, you push this button, which adds a little asterisk next to it. I'm sorry, you push this button to add a little asterisk, and you use this one just to like scroll down past the different ones. So if you want to add an asterisk, you can. If you add an asterisk, that means it will be in your list to be able to scroll through to be able to view it up here. So you can do as many as you want. So again, here, you do it just to be able to, let me do it with this hand, scroll through. See how it's highlighting each one? Now say I want to remove the asterisk from that one. I'll remove that, and it'll remove the asterisk. And then you can go through and put an asterisk next to what you want versus what you don't want. So you'll have that immediately in your selection. All right, and then once you get to the bottom, you do exit. It'll reset. Just give it a moment. And you end up with this kind of view over here when it comes back. It says it's not set up. It is, see, there they go right there. So now each button controls the top versus the bottom. So I can go through and you see how the top one is changing, and I'm going to find my boost to put on this one. I think I may have undone it. So that means I got to go back in. In order to do that, I pushed back these two at the same time, and it'll bring you back up here, and you go down to setup, and you go back in there, and I go back down and look for my boost. I think I must have made a mistake. Yep, I did. I didn't put the, you see boost right there? I got to put the asterisk back up on there. So now that that's back on there, I can go through all the way down until I get down to exit. Exit out of there. Let it reset. Here it comes back. Alright, and it's going to finally go back in. And now when I scroll through, I should be able to find my boost. There we go. I missed it, but that means right after here. No, see, this is the bottom one over here, by the way. So I'll go back through and see if I can find it, because it's going to go through the same list. There you go, boost. And I think I want to put trans temp up here. So we got trans temp, boost, cat temp, I'll change that one, and then air fuel ratio. Alright guys, so this is how it is installed. So I went back in and I adjusted this one, twisted it around, and I still need to do the same with this one right here. Couple of things to note. One of the things is when you go in here and you're pulling the cable back to take the slack off as you put these in, those the wire, the plug can easily be pulled out while you're doing that. So be cautious of that, okay? So when you're putting it in, you may want to take the gauge and slide it into the pod as you're pulling the cable without actually pulling the cable so much, whereas you're putting tension on there to pull it out of the slot. And putting the 3M tape on there is a great idea. The thing of it is, though, is that you can't just go in and then just twist it as you want to level it out. So I'm going to take it back out and then twist it around. Other than that, oh, and one last thing, this isn't so secure up in here. It's easy for it to pop out, I've noticed. So I tried a little 3M tape, not really working so much. So I'm going to have to come up with a solution to make sure that this doesn't just come popping out when I hit a bump down the road. So as you can see, you know, it's not much, doesn't take much for it to pop out of there at all. So I went in and I took my flathead and pushed in the clips to try to make sure it held it in, but this is probably about as sturdy as that is. Other than that, I really enjoy it. I hope you like it. If you do, hit the like button and definitely hit that subscribe button and to check out some of the other YouTube videos I have out there working on my CTS. Thanks a lot.